Hey everybody. Well, thanks for coming and playing. This is going to be part-time gods. And I'm going to give you guys just a quick rundown of the characters and like how they're built and stuff, and then we'll jump right into it. So just kind of looking at your character, the second sheet that has all like the numbers and what on it. Whenever you're making a character in Part-Time Gods, you make it basically making four important choices. One is your mortal occupation, and in your archetype, which is kind of like your personality and how you deal with issues. And then your your divine side is what type of god you are. So, for instance, Wade is the god of cold that falls under elemental gods and whatnot. So it's kind of broad categories. And then you would pick your theology, which is what you use to interpret your godhood. So again, for instance, if we use Wade, Wade is a member of the Order of Mescanet, who they keep tabs on like the pedigree of gods and they like hand down things. So they're really fun. Whereas Tony is a drifter, and she's all about kind of going from place to place and like establishing connections and building things and then letting them tumble down. It's very Taoist in the way that the drifters are built. Mina is a phoenix. So yeah, because Craig is playing Mina. Mina's a phoenix, and essentially they're all about finding humans and trying to build them into heroes. They're very obsessed with humanity, which is fun. Marlin, who is the god of death, he is one of the masks of Jana, and the masks of Jana, their whole gig is like making sure that regular people don't know about divine stuff. So he's all about hiding and you know keeping all of the magical stuff hidden. And then the last one is Gabriel, and Gabriel is he's a member of the Kunitsukami, and they are all about basically the hierarchy of spirits. So like gods, the Kunitsukami believe we're here, and then there's lesser spirits below us, and then there are greater spirits above us. And it's basically just how you interpret your godhood. These are actually those are 5 examples out of the 10 out of the core book, and then there's even more in other books. So there's a ton of them, different ways to interpret your power. The dice in this game, it is D10 pools, and essentially whenever you want to make a roll, there's no attributes, it's all just skills. And so you would just say what it is that you want to do, and then we would come up with a dice pool for that. For instance, if you wanted to sneak around in the forest, it would be a stealth plus survival roll. Because one for sneaking, the other one for doing stuff in the wilderness. So that's how it all works. If you wanted to fix a computer, it would be crafts and technology. Bam. And then you would take those numbers. So for instance, I'm on Gabriel. If he wanted to fix a computer, his crafts is 4 and his tech is 1. So he would roll 5 d10s. And then 7, 8, and 9 is 1 success, 10s count as 2. And then you just say how many successes you have. Most things will have like a general difficulty of about 2 successes, but some things get harder than that. All right, so it's skills. So manifestations right under skills on that sheet. Work actually very much the same as regular skills, but those are your divine skills. This is how you manipulate what you are the god of. So Aegis is anytime you're using it for protection or healing or something like that. Beckon is for summoning and banishing, things like that. Journey is anytime you want to use it to travel. That would be like moving through things or even teleporting. Sometimes you can do that. Minion is whenever you want to basically manipulate people using your dominion, or if you are into this, you can bring inanimate objects to life and give them aspects of whatever you're the god of. Puppetry is basically fine manipulation, so telekinesis, moving things around. Oracle is sensory. Ruin is direct damage. So that doesn't mean that other uses won't also cause damage, but you use Ruin when your goal is to damage. But other things can damage too, still. And then there's shaping, which is shaping. And then there's soul, which is manipulating the incorporeal aspects of what you are the god of, such as summoning spirits or changing the definition of things that go in line with what you're the god of. And those will always go with a regular skill. So if, for instance, you wanted to bring your stapler to life with the sense of justice because you're the god of justice, I might make that a minion plus crafts roll, because you're manipulating an object and you're trying to bring it to life and it's a standard object. Whereas if it was like a sword or something, I might make it fighting. And we can, a lot of this game is negotiation. So I might suggest something and you could be like, well, what if I rolled this instead? I'm fine with that. Like it's cool. Like this game tries to give you guys as much room for creativity as I can. Out of the choices that were made for your character, you ended up with 4 blessings and 4 curses. That every choice that you make in life there's some goods and some bads. So your blessings are usually going to be an additional die or a special little ability that you might get. For instance, Gabriel, he's an innocent is his archetype. And what he got from that was his martyrdom, which means if he takes a bunch of damage at once, that will basically benefit the team. So there is, in the middle of the table, if this was a physical table, there would be a Pantheon pool, which is a pool of dice that everybody can draw from as long as everybody else at the table is okay with it. So, if you fail a roll, you'll be like, oh gosh, can I grab some dice from the Pantheon pool? And everybody will be like, yeah, go for it. Or they might be like, no, we need to save it for later. But you notice there, Gabriel's ability Martyrdom, if he takes a bunch of damage, it adds a die to the Pantheon pool. So stuff like that. Curses also add dice to the Pantheon pool. Those are basically you inviting chaos and bad things into a scene. They are active and not reactive. So I'll pick a different character. I'm picking on Gabriel here. So if we take Marlin's Everyone's Got a Past, which is gain 1 Pantheon die when something Marlin was once hired to do comes back around. It would be like, if I'm just telling the story as the GM, it'd be like, fine, you could be like, hey, maybe that was something that it's like, well, no, because the moment already passed. But like when I introduce somebody, you could be like, ooh, I want to activate this and say like, ooh, I like beat up his brother or something, like you can totally do something like that. It is very active, and it's basically, again, it's a way for you to replenish that Pantheon pool, because it gets used and it refreshes every session. So like whatever you don't use here, it gets lost anyway. So might as well use it and then replenish it. So the game is highly based on free time and wealth. So you'll be spending both of those, and you'll see each character has both free time and wealth at varying degrees. Usually if you have a lot of free time, you don't have a lot of wealth. And if you have a lot of wealth, you don't have a lot of free time. If I'm looking at this team, Marlin is kind of in the middle, and but Gabriel, Tony, and Mina all have lots of free time and no money, and Wade has all the money. So Wade has 8 to his 2 free time. And free time is used to engage in a scene. So anytime that you're going to engage in a scene, it's going to require you to spend free time. And we'll deal with what happens when you run out of free time when we get to that. But at this point, that is, I think that's a pretty quick setup there. Let's see. Oh, so your truths are just things that are truthful about your character. Usually it's like an extra special power or something, like the god of whatever, it can breathe underwater. Great. Okay, cool. And when you're making your character, it's literally just like, this thing is true about my god. It just is. So bam. Some of you have relics, some of you have worshipers. It's all different based on, because they're all built differently. So everybody has truths though. So there you go. There are different, there's different, I'm hearing an echo on somebody's end. Who am I hearing that from? The doctor?
Doctors, can you mute? We can hear you on Twitch.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. Oh, he didn't have his headphones on. There you go. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. So there's that. You do take 2 different types of damage. There's health, which is physical damage, psyche, which is mental damage, and initiative, strength, movement. I think it's all good. Okay, cool. You do have bonds. Those are the things that are important to you as a person that can kind of keep you grounded, so that you don't flitter away into just chasing divine things constantly. And you can call on them to do things for you or for assistance and whatnot. All right, cool. All right. So starting off this, I'm sorry, does anybody have any questions before we start? I'm seeing no shaking. Okay, shaking heads. I like shaking heads. Paul, it looked like you did.
Well, I was going to say, do you have, in other words, you've created a scenario of some kind that we then need to be able to interact with and decide what we're going to do. You're just going to introduce, basically you're going to introduce characters to us, and then we decide if we want, how we know them, or.
Well, yeah, I have a pre-written adventure here
Okay,
that I'm gonna run for you that I wrote already, so it's easier to run that sort of thing. And instead of me just making it up off the top of my head.
I thought we were just freewheeling here for a second. Okay.
Well, I mean, in a sense we are, because my adventure is, it's plot points. What happens in between that's you guys. So all right, cool. So just to kind of set the stage here, if you notice at the last page of the packet of characters, you'll notice is it's the territory map. And this is it's a vague, like it's not like one block is a mile or anything. It's very vague idea of just where things are in relation to other things. So if we're starting this adventure, we're going to say Wade is likely in his office, which is at the point of, let me see, 8-4 is probably where you are at. You go across and then down, so 8-4. Marlon will be at Cole's gym. That's his dad's gym. That's at 5-6. Let's see. Gabriel's likely doing ink at Lizard Ink, so he's at 6-9. Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think about that. And then Tony is at the campus. That's at 3-7. And then, yeah, see, Anastasia got it. Yeah, it was a thing. And then I'm gonna say Mina's probably just at work, doing at the casino at 9-5. So you'll see those points on there, and I put little cute symbols that say, hey, those points are important to you. The fun thing is when you're making your individual characters, you'll end up getting all of these points and you'll put them on the board. And then as a pantheon, you all share basically power around these sections. Whenever you're around your territory, you get bonuses when you're using your god thing. So yes, I did notice Anastasia just is taking a break real quick, which is fine. Does anybody else have any other questions before I start? All right, cool. Well, then we'll give her a second then. I am going to roll randomly for an event to occur, and then we will do that.
I have a question.
Go for it.
On the territory map,
I
noticed that there's a spot with my worshippers.
Correct.
Is that what is? How do they gather? How do I have worshippers in a spot? What is that?
Which character are you playing? Mina?
Mina.
Okay, so you're playing Mina. Mina was literally handed her godhood. And what ends up happening is you are the god of light. So if people are saying like, oh, I worship the god of light, it goes to you and it counts. Like, you might not have even met these worshipers ever before, but you know where their power source is. And, through character creation, you would say, oh, this is how they gather and whatnot. For this instance, it's not necessarily super important, but it is a group of normal people who know you are a god, and that is where they congregate.
A tanning salon? I mean...
It could be, yeah. It could be a tanning salon. And again, like whenever you're making your characters, like I had one who was the god of swords, the god of swordsmanship, and he was like, "Ooh, I want them to like run like I want this to be a college campus, and they're basically the fencing team, and those are the ones who worship me." And so you can kind of make it whatever you want it to be. But they all have kind of different uses as well. So you'll notice that worshipers don't all just come with they're not all the same. They're very different from each other. And just a warning, I guess I'll just give a warning real quick to I believe Wade is the only one with zealots. Don't ask them to do anything other than something like bad. Because usually they're like, can I send them to protect? And I'm like, you're going to send the zealots to protect the person. Okay, I mean, it might work. Zealots don't really work that way, but you can always ask them to do it. That's part of the game. All right, cool. So I rolled randomly, and it said that it would be something is going to happen at 0.67, which is 6.7, which is actually right in between. Oh, wow. It's actually, oh, wow. That's bad, actually. Okay. All right. So at 6.7, there's a giant explosion. Pretty much everybody in town hears it. There's a giant explosion. Or, if you're not right next to it, you just hear you hear something like in distance, but it looks like actually 6.9 Lizard Inc. is right there. Let me see, 6. Okay, so basically on your character sheets, we're going to mark a damage. So basically tick off one of the boxes for Lizard Inc. Sadly, so you're gonna mark one off for Lizard Inc. Who's playing Gabriel, Patrick, and one for the one above it, which is at 6.6. 6.6 is Wade's worshippers.
My worshippers.
Yes, so you're gonna mark one off of your worshippers, and then also Marlin. And what is this one for Marlin? That is Cole's Gym. So yes, so both Cole's Gym and Lizard Inc. So you two are basically at the epicenter of what's about to happen, and then the rest of you will have to make it to this part of town. Is basically how it's going to work. So there's a giant explosion or eruption of some sort. While you guys are kind of just doing your normal thing, Wade is interrupted in the middle of sending like an email, like a really boring email that he does not want to send. Marlin's likely training because he actually has a fight, an exhibition fight coming up with a guy named Roach, and he doesn't want to do it, but Roach is really kind of testing the reputation of the gym, so he really needs to train in order to get this done. Lizard Inc., you're probably inking somebody, and when the explosion happened, as a matter of fact, Patrick, make an art on crafts plus discipline roll to see if you mess up this dude's tattoo, actually.
Yeah.
I just realized.
So
crafts, your crafts is 4.
Okay.
Your discipline is 2, so that's 6 dice. And as a matter of fact, I think you have, what else do you have? Do you have anything that'll give you a bonus to that? I don't think so. Okay.
I believe so. I don't know, maybe I can fix it after I'm done.
You would be able to, maybe.
There's a lot of dice. I get nervous shaking this many dice. All right, so that one's bad. We don't want that one. Okay, so anything over a 7?
So yeah, 7, 8s, and 9s are 1 success. 10s count as 2.
Okay.
1s do not take away.
Okay, unless I have no successes.
If you have nothing and some 1s, then it's very bad.
Okay.
But the 1s don't take away otherwise.
Roger that. Okay, so I've got a 10 and a 9.
So that would be 3 successes. So that's fine. I think 3 successes is good enough for you to avoid messing up this. Your patrons. Well, you are a pro at this. You don't make a lot of money, but this is art to you. Like, you don't mess up art. All right, cool. Well, then that's good. that was about to be real bad already.
Mistakes are just better art.
Right. Yeah, I messed it up. Like, I wrecked it, but I could already see how to just integrate it perfectly. The guy's like, "Is that okay? Is it okay?" I'm like, "Yeah. It's fine. It's fine."
So with Marlin and Wade, I believe was the 2, right? No, it was Gabriel and Marlin. So the 2 of you hear the explosion. What do you, I mean, and you hear it real close. How do you respond to this?
Well, I probably take my boxing gloves off and pitch them and head outside.
Okay.
And I tell my client, hey, why don't we take a break? And I'm just gonna go check on what's going on outside.
All right.
Take like 30 minutes, right?
You're gonna be like one of those really terrible tattoo artists. Like you get halfway done, you're like, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna take a smoke break, and you're gone for like 20 minutes. Like, what the hell's happening? Can you just come back and finish my tattoo? Damn it!
I'm gonna fight with my girlfriend outside.
All right. So actually, I just if you notice in the chat, I just gave you guys an additional Pantheon die, because as much as I said that that curses are not reactionary, there's an exception to that, and that's one that just happened, which is one that belongs to Wade, and it's that anytime one of Wade's points get damaged, if they get damaged on the board by an outside source, then you actually do gain an additional Pantheon die. So that's a separate thing. It's a thing.
I get very upset from the explosion because I hear it close to my worshipers. And I go walking out, I yell at my secretary, finish this email for me and call my car. And I just go storming out.
All right. Very
losing
cool.
my cool.
Let's see how close you are. Actually, hold on, let me see. Let's see. So you are here. So 1, 2, yeah, you're close enough. All right. So, what about Tony? So Tony's like in the middle of class, and there's a big like boom, and like the class, you can tell like gets unsettled by it. Like, you could feel the ripples of it because it's not actually that far from the school. But like, you can't, if you look out the window, you can't like see anything, or you know what I mean?
How far along is the class?
That's probably near the end.
All right. If it's near the end, I imagine she'll pretty apologetically pack up her stuff real quickly and slide out the back door. Step outside and see what's going on with the noise.
Very cool. And looking at where you are also well within easy moving range. All right. And then let's see, what's the Mina's at the casino actually. And Mina, you're probably like, I'm gonna say that you're just now walking out of your gig, because I think that's the easiest way. And she's always kind of leaving work early anyway. It's kind of her thing. It's dark out. It's like not dark. It's like 7, maybe 8 in the evening, so it's not like super late or anything.
I whip out my smartphone and look at Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, all of the different social medias to see if I can figure out what the explosion was.
All right. Right now, you're seeing reports that there are people on their way to the scene, but nobody's on the scene yet from the news or anything. Because it like just happened. So, but they're on their way there though, and there's even somebody saying there seems to be like there was some sort of explosion or something, some loud noise, and somebody, we're sending a reporter out to check it out.
I'll text my sister and see if she's okay.
Okay, I believe that she's fine. So she texts you back, says, "Oh yeah, do you know what that was? I mean, that's kind of crazy."
Not yet, but it's not that far away.
Actually, you're right. It's like one more over and it would have hit your sister too. Yeah, that would have been bad. Because like there's a lot of concentrated energy down there for your Pantheon.
Do I know if anybody's dead?
Oh gosh. I would say yes. I would say that you sense that. Well, you know what? An even better thing would be if you wanted to see if you wanted to be like, is anybody dead? That would be an Oracle roll. So you have Oracle, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So let's do Oracle, and let's do Oracle and Empathy. That sounds like a good one.
Okay. So I get 2.
All right.
Okay. 2 dice.
See what you get out of 2 dice.
A 9 and a 2.
And that's 1 success. So basically, I'm just gonna give it to you like in a small radius essentially for only 1 success. So I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna say basically around you, uh, you only sense that there's probably maybe one or two people who are dead from whatever happened. But there are other people who have not been killed. So there are other people.
Would I know if I knew them?
You wouldn't know that. No, you wouldn't know that. You can just sense death. So outside, you guys are hearing lots of screams, and there's like lots of smoke and whatnot in the area. But as everybody culminates on the scene, I'm just gonna say everybody shows up at the same time because it's more cinematic that way. Like standing there, the smoke clears, and you're all standing there, and you're like heroic poses. You notice that there are four creatures. They look like giant wolves, but they are but their fur is metallic and like pointy, and they look very scary. And they are setting off car alarms. They have killed a few people, but they really seem like they're kind of just running through the area, just destroying things.
I'd like to try to determine if there's an area nearby that could be set up as a safe zone, like a heavy building, an indoor parking garage, something that could be barricaded that I could lead people to safety into.
That's a good idea. Let's see here. Well, what I will say, because you are Tony, as a matter of fact, and this is actually happening at a point that is undefined. What I'm going to say is you have a thing called, what is your ability called? It's called instant domain. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to allow you to use instant domain, and I will let you go ahead and define what the point is on the map that we're at.
Okay, perfect.
So that means that you would spend one of your fragments, if I recall. Yeah, spend one fragment.
Okay, and we get 3 fragments.
Everybody has 3, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't define that before. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
So you would spend one of them, and then you would be like, "Bam! This is whatever you want it to be. A parking garage. That's fine."
Okay. She will go ahead and set that up. Then we'll say we're downtown. Maybe we'll use a nearby hotel lobby. That's a little more comfortable than a parking garage. And she'll just start, once that's been set up, looking for stragglers or people that are, out and about and bringing them into safety.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any quick thinking things before there's a battle?
I would like to see where there are any survivors.
Okay, so kind of the same idea as Tony, kind of looking for
but
survivors, people to help.
I'm gonna actually, since it's still light out, I'm going to actually manifest the ability to see and perceive through anywhere there's light in the area.
Okay. All right. So let's see. So you do have one oracle. So I would say oracle and survival, possibly.
Oracle and perception.
Let's see.
Or empathy.
I'll give it to you, perception. That's fine.
All right. So that would be 3. So I roll 3 dice.
Correct.
Okay. 3d10. 6, 6, 1.
So that would actually be a critical failure. Unless, so here's 2 ways that if you wanted additional dice or you wanted to manipulate your roll.
Okay.
One is you can ask for dice from the Pantheon pool. That's an easy way. Hey, can I use a dice? Yeah, cool, go for it. All right. Second way is you can spend free time. If you spend 1 free time, you get 2 dice. And that's an easy way for me to basically mill your free time away. And then the third way is for you to spend a fragment. And if you'll notice under fragments on your sheet, you get 3 successes on a regular skill roll or 2 successes for a manifestation. That's not dice. That's just 3 successes and it works, essentially, or 2 successes.
I have to try again. and I'm going to ask for 2 dice from the Pantheon dice.
Is everybody
Fine
cool
with
with 2
me.
dice?
Yeah.
All right, go for it. You don't have to roll again. You just be adding these 2 dice to your already existing roll.
But I roll those 2 dice or no?
Yeah, roll those 2 dice. Yep.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna roll those 2 dice, and I'm going to spend a fragment to get 3 successes at the same time.
2 successes because since it's a manifestation roll.
Okay.
But yes. So what did you get on your dice though?
7 and 9.
Okay, cool. So that actually gives you 4 successes then.
All right. Is that enough for a boost?
I would say no, not in this case.
Then I will use a stroke of genius to double the number of dice.
Okay, so you want to roll 2 more then?
I want to roll 2 more.
Go for it.
Oh no. I rolled a 1 and a 3 again.
It's
Going well. This is not going well.
which is fine because none of that stuff takes away from your already existing successes, so it's fine. All right, cool.
I'll spend 1 more fragment to get 2 more automatic successes.
Hold on. Before you do that, what is your goal in getting a boost?
I'm trying to do the perfectionist.
Oh, I see. Well, okay, so but technically you did not fail the roll because
It says you gain 1 Pantheon knife. She can't stop herself from trying the same task again and again until she gets a boost.
okay.
Perfectionism is Mina's crux.
So
There are survivors I have not found. I know they're there.
but here's the thing. So here's how that would work I understand what you're doing now. Okay, I get it now. I was more because I'm a GM that says yes to everything. I'm like, yeah, do that thing. Go for it. Now that I understand your intent, so what you would have said is, like, oh, I tried to do this and I failed. I'm going to activate my curse, which I would say, okay, cool. You have failed this round. Next round, you have to try again. Then the next round, you have to try again. Next round, you have to try again. That sort of thing. It wouldn't be adding up because, again, when you did that, it added on to your existing roll, which means you did not fail. You actually succeeded. So,
but is it a failure? Is it triggered by failure or triggered by not getting the boost?
It is. Well, it's triggered by not getting the boost, but again, you can totally do it if you want. The thing about manifestation rolls, though, is that you don't necessarily get boosts on manifestation rolls.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So that was a little thing, but it's
right.
Usually a boost is whenever you get 3 more than whatever the difficulty is.
Right.
But when you're rolling for manifestations, each success that you get has a purpose. So there isn't any rolling over. If you roll over, it's just a bigger effect.
Got it. Okay.
So in other, but other things, it's like difficulty 2, I got 5. Great. That's a boost. That sort of thing.
Learning moment.
No. And it is. And, that's probably my bad for going so fast through the rules at the beginning. So you did that. You can now sense anywhere that is touching light. That also includes the creatures, these metallic wolves, because they are, because light is refracting off of them and actually helping you because the little bit of light that's there is reflecting off of them and hitting a lot of other surfaces. So you are able to sense, so you're looking for survivors and stuff. You definitely see that there are a few not far from them that will need some assistance whenever it is your turn to do that. Does anybody else want to do anything? This is pre-rolling initiative because there's going to be a fight here because they're going to see you and attack you. But
can I do something naive?
Of course you can.
Yeah. I would like to do something out of my innocent curse.
Okay.
And I'm gonna think that I can help these animals, right? Because they're just like animals are animals, man. I grew up with dogs. I'm just gonna go and just be like, I'm really good with animals. So I'm gonna try and go up to them and I don't know. I'm not gonna try and max out this thing. I have an idea of 3 things that I could connect. I don't know if it works that way, but I'm just gonna go up and try to pacify these wild animals?
I'm gonna say as you start to approach them, you can immediately tell that there's some sort of outside something that's manipulating them to make them be kind of feral and whatnot. So with even without a roll, I'd say you believe that there would be no way, even if you're like, I don't want to kill these things or hurt these things.
Yeah.
There's definitely no way that you would be able to get through to them in their current state.
Gotcha. Okay.
If that is clear.
Yeah. That's clear.
Can I size them up?
Certainly.
So that's a gain +1 intuition. So I would just go ahead and roll then 2 intuition.
Well, we're gonna do intuition and fighting.
Oh, intuition fighting. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So it'd be 2, and then fighting is 4. So that's 6.
Yes. The highest a skill goes is 5. So that shows you how good Marlin is.
All right. I got a 10, a 9, 2 5s, a 6, and a 1.
Okay, so you got 3 successes. Very cool. With 3 successes, I would say you're able to see these things. I think, did I say how many there were? I don't even remember. I just said that they're there. Did I say there were 2?
I think you said initially there were 2.
Okay. There's actually 4. Because the other 2 came around the corner, because the rules, the thing actually says that there's either 3 or 4, but since you're a Pantheon of 5, I'm going to say there's 4. So we'll see what happens with that. I can always say like 1 runs away if you get your butts kicked.
So
but
they
probably
look like, so they
it shouldn't happen.
so I think they're pretty good fighters.
Yes, I would say you can definitely tell that they're going to be good fighters. And what you got 3 successes?
Yes.
I'm going to give you a +2 to your initiative for the next 3 rounds. If it goes 3 rounds, we'll see if it does. Fights in this game go very fast. All right, cool. And then I think Wade is the only one who hasn't done something before the fight starts.
Yep. So am I able to get there quickly, or do I need to do like a journey speed?
No, everybody
Wealth
was
roll.
everybody was actually within on the map. You can move 4 squares without like spending free time and stuff like that. And everybody just so happened to be within 4 squares. So lucky you, like I didn't roll 1-1 and it would have been all the way up in the corner and everybody would have had to rush there and spend all their free time just trying to get there. So that's the fun part about this game, because if something's happening over there and you're over there, it's like, I don't even have the time to go there. I'm gonna it's it's fun.
Can I I'm gonna do a similar thing then of sizing them up.
Okay.
I don't know if that would be an intuition perception to kind of size up and prepare, or oh, actually I'm going to that prime the mark wouldn't work here. Yeah, I'm gonna size them up with a to start kind of talking to understand start talking to them and just going, do you really think that this is a wise idea? Do you think that you really have power here? Trying to influence, and I don't know what the other one would be.
So I'm gonna kind of tell you the same thing I told Patrick. Like you can start talking to them and you can tell like they're not understanding. They are animal minded.
Okay.
So
then
yeah,
intuition, perception to try to get a gauge on their power, their strength, that sort of stuff.
Okay, that's fine.
1, 10, 8, and 7. So 3 successes.
3, 6. Well, you said a 10.
Yes.
Okay, so that 10
so
count is
4.
2.
So 4 successes.
Yeah, so 4. All right, cool. You're able to I mean, are you just trying to gauge? I'm gonna say that you're able to, yeah, I mean, you're able to gauge them. They look very powerful. They do not look
weaknesses
weak.
or anything. Weaknesses like, are they slow and fast? Like, or sorry, are they slow and strong? Are they super fast? But it looks like if you hit them underneath the, I don't know.
No, that's
like
good.
they have weak points.
Let me read here and see if there's anything. If they have any listed weaknesses. You know what? As a matter of fact, instead of that, you made an intuition perception.
Yes.
Make an intuition knowledge roll for me instead. Because intuition perception wouldn't actually tell you anything.
Gotcha.
You just be like, yeah, they look really scary.
That is a 2, 6, and 10. So 2 successes.
Okay. I'm going to say that you have heard of creatures like this before. And especially since like Killick has sometimes talked about creatures that are like him, but also metallic. And so you've heard like off stories, and I'm going to say that you know that they are weak to fire.
Okay.
So there you go. And roll initiative. It's not even really all that. Let me see. So my initiative, I have a static initiative, just by the way. I just go I go here, and then you guys can roll above or below that, but I go at the normal.
And that's just a D10?
Yeah, roll a 1d10 and you add your initiative modifier to it. I apologize. I did not say it out loud.
Which is at the bottom of right of the character sheet.
Bottom right. In my brain, I did say all of that.
I heard you.
Hey, there you go.
Um,
Craig lives in my head. You didn't know that.
I have real estate all over the place.
All right. Wade, what'd you get?
Wade got 6.
6. Marlon?
9.
9. And that's with your +2?
That is +5.
But your size them up, I gave you a +2.
Oh, that's right. So that's 11. Excuse me.
So you're at 11. Okay. Gabe, what did Gabe get?
7.
And Tony?
also 7.
And Mina?
15.
15? Wow.
Rolled a 10 and have a +5.
Well, I guess Mina's going first then.
Light moves fast.
Unless I want to spend a fragment to act first.
Oh, that's right, because Marlon can do that if he wants to. Did you want to do that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Marlon's going to spend a fragment. He goes first.
All right. So I'm going to see if I can. Now, I guess I assume we all know each other because
Yes.
we're all part of the same.
You're a pantheon, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I will see how close is the closest one to me.
You within, you know, like if you run up to it, you can attack it.
Then I'm gonna go run at it and do a haymaker. Just kind of just run right into it and an overhand crunching haymaker.
Okay. That sounds fun.
Yes. So I do fighting.
So it depends. Are you trying to imbue this with any divine power, or are you just going to go punch it?
Well, let's see. What would my choices be then for?
If you're just going to punch it, I would probably say that that's going to be a fighting and probably speed, since you have to run up to it.
Right. So
if you're going divinely, I would say that that would likely be a fighting and ruin roll, which, if you notice, is the same number of dice.
Is the
but
same.
If
I don't want to manifest because I'm the secretive one. I don't want people to know that it's what's going on.
There are a few people around, but no one's looking, so you'd be okay.
Oh, so I'd be okay
if you did want to at this point.
Okay, and the ruin would help me.
It would help you. There's bad things to touching these guys. So essentially, if you do a divine punch, then you won't have the backlash of the.
And we're gonna do the ruin.
Yes.
If I know that, then yeah, I'll do that. All right, so it'll be 2 and 4, so it'd be 6.
All right. It's a little bit of metagaming there, but I'm fine with it. So I am rolling.
All right, I got a 7, an 8, a 4, a 5, a 9, and a 2.
So how many successes is that?
So that's 9, 8, and 7.
9, 8, and 7 would be 3.
Okay, so it'd be 3, 4,
Okay.
5, and 2 would not be correct.
No, correct.
Okay, then 3.
I also rolled 3. So the question here would be, do you want to spend free time to add more dice to that so you can win it? Or do you want to just say, oh, I missed?
No, I'll add a free time for sure.
Okay. Or you can do a fragment. Again, also add stuff. It depends on, again, there's lots of ways, or Pantheon dice. Lots of ways to get bonuses in this game.
Let's go ahead and just do the free time. So what do I get? Okay. 1 extra dice for that?
You get 2 for 1 free time.
2 for 1 free time. Okay. 10 and a 9.
Oh, so you added 3 more. Very nice. All right. So let me see where we're at here. So you, with 3. Oh man. No, wait. Okay. Yes. Okay. So with 3, you actually do you go up and you do a haymaker. Haymaker's in the gut, right?
No, haymaker's just a big wind up.
Oh, that's this one. Gotcha. Right. Okay. I was thinking this. There's a word for it in the the gut check or something.
The bread basket.
Bread basket. That's it. Good job. So yeah, the haymaker. This is stupid names for them. But it's a haymaker right across the wolf's face, and I'm gonna say yeah. Like you just go up and you go, and it's out just after 1 punch because you're that cool. That's how Marlin is built. So, Mina.
I will pick the closest survivor to one of the beasts.
Okay.
And put myself between them.
All right.
And summon my sword.
Sounds wonderful.
And stand between them and yell at the person, run to the hotel.
Okay. Very cool. None of that requires any rolls. You definitely do all of that. So
if the wolf tries to attack the creature, it will meet my sword.
Okay. No, that's fine. And it's fine to take a defensive position. If you are choosing to take a defensive position, you'll get a bonus. If you start to get attacked, you get a bonus to your defensive roll, essentially. So very good. I like that. So defensive roll for Mina. All right. So Tony and Gabriel, you guys have the same initiative, so you can just choose who goes first.
I have something I would like to try.
Okay.
I'm still unclear, I suppose, to what extent we can use magic, but this seems like something the God of Beauty would be able to do.
Okay.
So I'd like to cast, you know those big fields of flowers in movies that are have the sleep dust?
Yeah.
She wants to cast like a big gust of sleep flowers, kind of like a sleep spell.
Okay.
They're metal, so I don't know if that would work. But it is divine magic, so
that is correct. So one thing I'll say, they're not like made of metal. It's just that their fur is instead of it being hair, it's more like metallic strands, that sort of thing. So yeah. So they're not made of metal, but they're metallic. Yeah, I mean, you're right. But the other thing, so the way that the rules work in this game is essentially if you're doing something that's spot on for what you're the god of, then roll to your heart's content. If you are doing something that is tangential, then you take incremental negatives to whatever you're rolling, essentially, depending upon how far off it is from what you're doing. I think that's a little far off. In terms of effects. I would say if you were going for just making beautiful flowers grow, that's one thing, but to have the sleeping effect as well on top of that, that would be the part that would probably go too far outside of what your dominion is.
So what would the negatives for that be?
Well, for the flowers, I probably would just do maybe a -1, maybe -2. If you're going for the sleeping stuff, I mean, I think in a normal game, I probably would just say you can't do that. But since this is not a normal game, I will give you a -4 to, and what would that be? That would be probably beckon. You don't even have any beckon.
I have 2 beckon.
I'm looking at You're playing
Unless
Tony,
I-
right?
Oh, I scrolled up too far.
Okay.
I can't. I don't have two monitors in my office setup.
Oh, okay,
I have two
gotcha.
monitors in the regular setup, so I'm switching between things. You're right. I have 0 back in.
Yeah, so I'm like, because if you were gonna try and summon something, that would probably be Beckon. Yeah, I would say you would not be able to do that effect actually, just based on what she knows how to do. So
Okay.
What's your Dominion?
My dominion is conceptual.
beauty. Yeah, she's the goddess of beauty.
So I'm trying to figure out how to fight with beauty.
Oh. Well, I mean, 'twas beauty that killed the beast. I mean,
Is that the saying?
that's what the end of the King Kong movie. It wasn't the helicopters that got him. 'Twas beauty that killed the beast.
One
I
thing.
suppose.
Go ahead.
I suppose I'll try to charm them.
You could try to charm them. Another thing you could try to do would be to blind them. That'd be something that beauty could probably do. So there are some offensive things you can do with beauty. But yeah, you want to try it. You can try and charm them. You have no minion. Minion is what you would use to do that.
All right. Well, I do have 3 fighting, and I get a +1 fighting if I'm attempting to protect someone. So I guess I will just
Go throw a haymaker or a bread basket this time.
It's very out of her character.
You can hold your turn too, like if you really have just no clue what to do.
You said she could try to blind them.
Yeah.
I'll try to blind them then. What would that
Okay.
be?
I would say that's likely going to be let's see. That more than likely would have been ruin, which she also does not have any of, which is so crazy. Like all the stuff you want to do, she is just not set up for that stuff. Let's see. But let's do this. Let's do soul. So if you use soul, then what you can do is you can redefine what beauty is, and you can make yourself beautiful to them. So that is something that you can do, which will kind of give you the same effect of what you're trying to do, which would be to kind of charm them. So we can use soul sort of to do that.
Could she add perform to that?
Let's do soul and perform. That works.
Good plan. So how many dice am I rolling?
Your perform is 2, and your soul is 1.
So I'm rolling 3 dice.
Correct.
Two zeros and a 1.
Look at that. 4 successes. That's amazing. Great job. See, that's why people are like, I only have 2 dice to roll. It's just like, sometimes you can get a lot of successes on that. So 4 successes. I'm going to say that, the second wolf is adequately charmed, because I'm going to say that they are seeing you as kind of like one of them is kind of seeing you as their master, kind of like, because you're so, they're enthralled with you because you're so beautiful. So let's say that.
All
I like
right.
that.
Told ya.
We got there.
So here's the thing is like, so if Anastasia was making a goddess of beauty, she'd be like, look, I want to grow fields of flowers, and I want to be able to blind. And during character creation, I'd say, well, make sure that you take some ruin, and make sure that you take some minion to charm people. Make sure you take this, and when you're building your character, you would do that. She herself is a peaceful, non-manipulative person. Tony, the way that she's built, which is why she has no minion, because she does not want to manipulate people, and she doesn't have any ruin because she's not there to hurt people. She's there to save them and whatnot. So her character was built a certain way for her, but obviously the cool thing about this game is that all of you could be the same god of, like, say all of you were the god of fire, and every single one of you would be completely different. And that's the fun part about the game. So
It's very curious though that her fighting is 4 potentially when she simultaneously has no fighting abilities.
well, she doesn't have any supernatural fighting abilities, but she can fight a regular person pretty good. But she's kind of social, but she's a complicated character. Um, she's
She could
actually
fight.
the way that I have, and this is actually the way that it kind of happens in most cases whenever I run with Tony in the game, is she is the first one on the scene to try to stop something bad from happening, but she is often ill-equipped to actually deal with it. So she just kind of she's there just kind of as a buffer. That's what she does. But there you go. That's kind of like, that's how she handles things. She's just like, that's what she does. But like, if she actually had to punch you or something, she'd be like, I don't want to do that. Gabriel, what would Gabriel like to do?
Yeah.
Long way around there. Sorry, I rambled.
No, you're good. So Gabriel, like seeing these metallic wolves, pretty aggressive. I'm gonna try and talk to him. I'm not gonna do him. Take a like long hit off my vape pen, and I'm gonna go talk to Mina because we're cool. And I'm like, hey, Mina, how about you help me like get some people together, and I'll get them out of here fast. And I don't know exactly how my power works, but I'm thinking maybe I can like create sort of a portal that I could like get these innocent people out through.
I would say totally. So what you can do is so the making a portal is pretty blatant in terms of the usage of magic. What I would likely say is maybe you can maybe make it so that essentially a portal, but you can make
a portal. If I could create like just like a zone where people like move at an accelerated pace,
right? Or like it's like you can make like an instant shortcut, that sort of thing.
Like
so
if you step around this corner, you'll be like a block away.
Right. So, and that's journey. And let's see what you would do with that. Let's say intuition journey.
Okay. Yeah.
I like that. Let's do intuition journey for that.
I like it.
I think that sounds
intuition
great.
Journey. It's a journey of intuition. Journey too. So 4.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I didn't fail. I have 1 8.
1 8.
And
okay.
Then, a couple of 1s and a 2.
Well, that's fine. It just means that you're not, instead of like if you go around the corner, you're like 5 miles away. Instead you're a few blocks away. So it's fine. I think it works. You would kind of affected this general area, and if you shepherd people that way, then they'll be mostly out of the way. So I dig that.
Yeah.
All right. And then so all of you. Oh, so yeah, they also go on a 6. So Wade will get to go before them though, because players go before bad guys. So
yay. So I will very much just take a offensive stance and kind of swing my hand out, utilizing the north wind, calling on the north wind from the ring.
Okay.
And saying, just yelling at it to, back or stay. And as I do that, I will do a marksman ruin check for basically a freezing cold wind.
You got it. You figured this game out already, apparently.
And that will be rolling 6 dice. I got 2 successes. 2 successes.
2 successes. Well, let me roll my defense here. My defense is heavily lowered because you have already taken out 2 of my people. And I still rolled 3 successes. I rolled a 10, a 9, and a 4. So of course it's Google. It's not me. It's Google.
It's fine.
I wish I had dice that
Wait.
rolled that well.
Wade knows a guy at Google. He'll get that fixed ASAP. He doesn't like that out of being out of control. Yeah.
So I got 3 and you got 2, correct? Is that what we're?
Yes.
Okay. So then you have the option to spend free time, which you don't have a lot of that.
Nope.
Pantheon dice or fragments.
Let's go ahead and use a fragment for 2 successes, giving me 1 net success.
Okay.
And then I also have a destructive nature, which gives +1 damage since I do intend to harm.
Nice. Okay, so then it does 2 damage. I would say these things have 3. So like if you could do 1 more, then it would take it out. just saying that. So like if you wanted to, if somebody was like, go down Pantheon
Can
die or
I?
something
Yeah.
like that.
Can I take from the Pantheon dice? What do we have now? We're at
6.
6 on the Pantheon dice.
Yeah.
Statistically, if I took 2 Pantheon dice to kind of get that last hit, I got 1.
Go for it.
Okay.
Looks like everybody's in agreement.
That'd be a 9 and a 3, so I get it.
There you go. Bam. All right. So the third wolf is out. And that means just 1 lonesome wolf gets to attack, which is sad. So let's see. Let me see who he's attacking.
Bring it. Bring it.
Well, let me see. I think more than
It's-
likely. Go ahead.
So were the wolves that were killed the charmed wolves? Does this wolf still have
No,
any
no, no,
effects from that?
No, the wolf that you charmed is, I just took him out. Like he's not
Okay.
participating because you were like, bask in my beauty.
Gotcha.
So. Of course I rolled 6. Well, of course I rolled 6 again. The 6-sided die doesn't like me. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's going for Mina.
Yay.
Random rolling. That I like it. So my attack is still a big attack. They have crap for defense, but they got lots of attack.
I am
So it is barreling towards you. One of them is, and it's going to bite at you and try and engulf your head in its mouth.
okay. I am in a defensive stance holding my sword.
Mm-hmm.
And I will make sure that the light reflects into its eyes. And so fighting. Do I get to make a manifestation with that, with the Aegis?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're using it in that way, instead of just deflecting with the sword, you're using your sword to kind of reflect the light to try and blind it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, Aegis, that's a great use of that.
Okay, so that's fighting is 1 plus 2 for the sword. That's 3 plus Aegis is plus 2, and then you said I add another plus from being defensive.
Yeah, +2.
So that's a plus 3, 5. That's 7 dice.
Cool. I'm rolling 6, so we'll see what happens.
All right. I rolled a 10. I rolled a 7. And another 10. An 8. And a 9. And a 2. So
Well-
that would be a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 successes.
Yeah.
Bad dog. Bad dog.
Bad dog indeed. I only got 1 success, which means which means your defense. See, that's an example of your defense. Basically, your difficulty was 1, so you would have boosted on that. And yeah, I'm gonna say like it came up to try and bite you, and it basically you just sliced its head off because that's a lot of successes there. And
So for the boost, can I then like back up and escort the person behind me to safety?
oh, I mean, I'd assume that you had kind of already. I mean, you can escort them now if you want, but you had said run before.
But they may or may not have.
Oh, I was assuming that they had listened to you.
All right.
You were very commanding in the moment. So.
Okay.
Very cool. Well, that fight is over. And nobody touched them, which is good because you would have taken bad things if you had touched them, except for Tony and Marlin, I guess. Yeah. So there you go.
And we have a pet.
What's that?
And now we have a pet.
And now you have one of the now you have one of them. Let me see here. Oh gosh. Actually, as soon as the fight is over, their bodies disintegrate. And they just start kind of like almost they just dissipate into nothing. Wow, I didn't even realize that was a thing. I'm just reading it what it says here. But yeah, so apparently you don't have a pet there. So
can I be really upset about the loss of our pet? Like I just can't even.
Oh, you're gonna do a can't even?
Can I just not even like deal with this? Or is that
so this will move us into the next scene essentially. So hold on. So everybody would have. So who spent free time in that scene? Okay, so
what are the rules on free time? Like if you're involved, is that
so it's one. Well, it was one
or?
free time for this scene.
Okay.
So I'm taking one free time away from everybody. But if you spent additional free time, because I know some of you did, Paul said you did, right?
Yeah, I spent one free time.
Okay. Did anybody else spend any free time? Did Mina spend any free time? No, you spent fragments. That's right. Okay. All right. So essentially, this is what we're looking at here. The first number is free time. Second number is wealth. So now we will be going into a second scene, which would mean all of those numbers get reduced by one more. So yay. And the scene now, and the scene now would be, what do you want to do? Essentially. Because I never just say like, you're definitely doing this next thing. Although for the adventure, the next thing would be to basically figure out what these things are, where they came from, that sort of junk. So you guys get to decide where you want to go to do that, how you want to do it. So let me see. So it says literally wherever the attack happened, that's the bad part of town now. So all of a sudden, essentially, like it just starts getting really bad and kind of run down. And, there's lots of, and honestly, this is actually really close to Cole's gym and whatnot. So it's probably not the best area of town anyway. So that works out. So now would be, where we would investigate the creatures essentially. Having the adventure here, I do have some suggestions, but I want to see, do you have any plans on what you would like to do with your next scene?
I'm gonna go and in a different light from Gabriel, go and kind of kick through the ashes and then use puppetry to bring the ashes up and kind of inspect them without touching them because I don't want to get dirty.
Okay.
But I'm just kind of to Tony, I'm gonna say, such a shame. It would have made you a very good pet, I believe. But what I'm really doing is investigating and trying to figure out like, what domain does this fall under? Do I know who could have summoned these?
Okay.
Who brought these about?
So just overarching here. So your plan is to stay here for this scene and investigate the wolves.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
And investigate the damage and this is now the bad part of town. Like everything that's happening is I'm staying here currently. Yes.
Okay. So so wait, that's Wade, not Marlin. I don't know why I was writing that. So Marlin, what is Marlin doing?
Marlin is doing something similar. His first reaction is, well, he looks around first of all to see who's watching. Are there any spectators that are observing or filming or any of those things?
What I would say is at the moment, no, but soon there's going to be the news and all that stuff because they're still going to be investigating what the giant boom kind of like
Right.
sound wave was. So we already know that they're on the way. That fight didn't last very long because you guys were just like and it was over. So your plan also with Marlon is to stay here, correct?
Well, well, I'm looking around. I guess at that point, I'm as part of just some sort of general searching to see if that boom came from below or above. Like, did they drop from somewhere, or did they emerge from somewhere,
Gotcha.
or just appear from somewhere?
Right. So that's what you're doing. Is Mina sticking around here to investigate, or are you going somewhere?
Mina's gonna head into the safe hotel that Tony created
Okay.
and talk to the survivors and make sure they're okay and see if there's anything that they saw, while at the
Okay.
same time seeing if any of them are potential worshipers.
Got it. All right. Gabriel.
Yeah. A couple things I was thinking about. So I guess if it's apparent to me that the guys are that Wade and Marlon are kind of onto something, like if I see that, or if they're communicating like that they're
Yeah.
looking for like the way in,
Yeah.
basically. I wanted to see if I could use, like, I don't know if this is too metagaming, but like my understanding of travel, right? Because like, if I have like some insight because of my, is this my domain? Is travel my domain, or is that
Well,
my
you're not necessarily the god of travel. You're the god of travelers.
travelers? Okay.
There's
I
this
see.
game. This
Okay.
game is really picky about that sort
Very
of thing.
specific. Yeah, yeah. Very
Like
niche.
I've had the god of death and the god of the dead, and they are two different things, right?
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
so god of travelers means more you're the patron god of travelers, more like you have over the people who would travel from place to place.
Right.
Yeah.
So would I be able to glean anything from like the dust of these creatures to have a sense of like how they got here?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that's what you would do. You would
Okay.
just say, how did they travel here? And then you would,
Right.
being the god of travelers, you'd be able to
Yeah.
figure that out. All right, cool. So
would that
you're
be-
also sticking around, and then I would ask Anastasia. I will wait for Anastasia to come back for Tony, but it looks like everybody's sticking around. The thing about Tony is that bad stuff happens if Tony sticks around. So,
Good thing Tony's not here.
well, yeah, but the character Tony. Tony is a drifter, and drifters, one of their drawbacks is if they start a scene in the same location that they ended the scene previous, then they take a mental damage because they always kind of have to be on the move. Otherwise, it kind of gets them stir crazy.
How does wealth work? Like depending on like if I have 5 wealth,
I often have that question.
how would I spend that?
So wealth, it's a pretty so wealth is not like, it's not like you have $5 or anything. It's
Right.
like, it's a range.
Sure.
Wealth can be spent in a number of ways. A lot of the time wealth is spent for travel. Like I said, we just so happened that everybody was in easy distance to this thing. But essentially, if you're further than 4 squares, you can spend more free time, or you can spend wealth in order to go. You obviously have to spend wealth in order to buy things and do things. I've run another adventure where like they had to go to like a nightclub to meet with a thing, and I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, you still gotta pay to get into the nightclub, so everybody has to spend some wealth. Usually Wade just pays for everybody, but that's how it works. Because Tony goes, I ain't got no money. So yeah. Yeah, all right, cool. So Anastasia, hi, you're back. So Tony, I was just asking, where is everybody just sticking around here for the next scene, essentially? The thing about Tony is that Tony is a drifter, meaning that if she starts a scene in the same location that she ended the previous scene, then that would mean that she would take 1 damage to psyche. And I believe it's a confused condition or something. Let me check that. Keep moving. Yeah, you take 1 damage to psyche and a level 1 confused condition. So if you're going to stick around and help with this, then you would have to take that.
I guess I'm going to my next philosophy class.
All right, so she is going to, and essentially what we would say is that this is a scene that Anastasia is choosing to have Tony go to work, essentially. So you're going to go to work, which, because your job is student, so going to work. And then I don't think that you are down much in terms of stuff. So essentially, at the start of the next scene, you'll be back up to your normal free time. Free time and wealth, which is, again, it's pretty low wealth. But they're going to just basically spend a little bit of time just to investigate the wolves, and then the next scene would be you guys going after it anyway. So going to work just means you're like, I'm gonna bow out, I ain't got nothing to do, and my character is like, I'm just gonna, you guys do your thing and then I'll jump back in, which is fine because sometimes that's what you want to do. All right, so some of the suggestions here as well that is in here. Haley's not in the group, so that doesn't count.
Can I also, just because it takes a number of scenes.
Yeah.
And I want to totally abuse this as much as I can. Can I also command my zealots to find the source of these things?
To find the source of these wolves?
Yes.
Okay. They aren't very good at that of finding things. So zealots are like, I need that building burned down. The zealots will go do it for you. I need somebody kidnapped. Yeah. I need somebody murdered. Investigating stuff, that's not necessarily their thing. I
was hoping. Okay, I'll save it for later.
Well, and that's it. So you could ask them, but they would take a severe, like, basically, if you you don't use worshipers for what they're designed for, they take penalties. So
I was thinking really hard about how to make it a terrible thing, but I just really can't make investigation terrible. So
it's hard to, I know.
I'll wait. I'll save them.
So yeah, so I guess that's that. So let me see. So you're investigating the remains, Marlon, and Gabriel's going to do the how did these things travel here, and what was Wade doing?
Wade was also investigating, but since I have such low free time, could I instead save my free time to take a call from work and end up being the jerk executive on the phone for the scene?
So yes, I will say that you could do that. That would be, well, essentially that would just be going to work. So that just means that you just basically won't involve yourself with the scene. But you know, you're not far. So I think it's fine. Okay, cool. So then Gabriel, who wants to go first? Gabriel or Marlon?
I think Marlon had started kind of investigating, and I was just gonna kind of rip off what he was doing.
Okay.
Yeah, well, Gabriel and I are tight anyway. That's our we are tight. So we're on the same level. We know where we're like saying, hey, we need to find out where these things came from, and we're in on it. So I'm
low-key intimidated by Marlon, but he doesn't know that, and I'm flattered that he doesn't pick up on
that. So what would I do then if I have found anything? If I was searching, what would be my best bet? Would that be perception and?
What are you trying to find out? I'm
trying to find the source. I'm trying to see if another part-time god sent these for some reason.
Okay. I would say, oh gosh.
Maybe
that's a hard one because it doesn't necessarily fall under death.
Can I jump in there?
That's the tricky thing there.
Okay.
So let's do Gabriel's.
Yeah,
okay.
let's
do Gabriel's because Gabriel's definitely falls under.
Yeah,
and that's an easy one.
Right.
So we'll do.
No death, bro. You got to take it.
Essentially.
Hey, yeah. No, you can count on me, man. I got this.
So
I want to put my hand on his shoulder just to find out if he's going to die in the next 5 days. Because I want to.
He's not going to die in the next 5 days.
Okay, good. All right, just checking. I always kind of
What's
check
going
him.
on there, man?
He always wonders why I'm doing this. Like, hey, how you doing, man? Like grab him by his shoulder, and go, okay, you're good. All right.
He's
Marlon's
like,
just always touching everybody in the group. Like,
Right,
just
yes.
like it's
Yes, I am. I'm just checking on people. That's all.
No,
Just checking on them.
unlike the player, Gabriel is like emotionally touched by your
yes.
touching.
Aw.
But yeah, don't put your hands on me in real life. I'm not. Anyway, but Gabriel pulls out some rolling papers and takes some of the ash of these like guys and like spreads it out and rolls one of them up and lights this shit and just like then I just kind of look at the smoke and I'm gonna use. Do I need to use like abilities to?
Oh yeah.
to try
Oh
and
yeah.
see
This
where
would be
is from?
journey and let's say
Intuition
knowledge.
again. Knowledge.
Knowledge and journey.
Ooh, knowledge. How's my knowledge?
I don't
How's
know.
my knowledge? Ooh, my knowledge is not as good as my my intuition. But
Let's use
we're gonna
intuition
go with
then.
it. Can I? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
And can I? What else can I do? If I can add something to that. Can I put a little free time into this? I've got like lots of time on my hands.
Yeah. That's part of the fun part about having lots
Yeah.
of free time.
So is that just add?
It adds 2 dice. Yeah.
2 dice. So 4 for that. And then so okay.
So you just spend another free time?
Yeah.
Just one?
Just 1.
Okay.
That gives me 1. Ooh, I'm glad I spent that. Oh my god. Can I add free time after the fact, or is that
Yeah.
a no-go? I
Oh, yeah.
can.
Oh yeah.
All right. I'm gonna add 1 more free time for 2 more dice.
I'm a really nice game designer.
You're being super.
I'm
nice.
like just as a game designer, because again, my goal as the GM, I want you to run out of free time. Like it's a thing.
Oh,
So
okay, well, it's going. You should be happy.
Going.
I'm running out of time. All I have is time, and I have no time. Man, I have so many 1s. I wish you could see
wow.
my dice board, man. Like, I have a 7 and a 10, so that's
7
3
and a 10.
successes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you probably only need like 2 in
Cool.
order to do it. So
Well, then I should.
you got 3, so that's even better.
That's fine, and I wasted free time, so everybody's happy.
Yay. Well, I mean, I am.
Yeah.
So
Just want to keep the DM on my side.
yeah. So let me see. So these things. So what do you find out here?
I'll figure out where these guys came from.
So the you find out that these things came through a portal, and it was a fairly aggressive portal that kind of Terminator style. So
Yeah.
the loud noise was like the shockwave of the portal kind of opening and closing very quickly. And you can definitely tell that it leads back to I'm not actually rolling any dice. I don't know what I'm looking for at my desk. I'm rolling virtual dice here.
Inspiration.
I was like looking for my dice. Let me roll this real quick, but I don't have any. So let's see, 0.22. So you can sense that the portal leads back to 0.22 on the map. If you look at the map, because I just rolled randomly for it. So 22, and that is the junkyard. So
I say that when I see this, like for me, it's like having a flashback, like it's all happening, and so like Marlon like sees me just like freaking the f out, and like I hear these sounds, and I'm just like, oh god, oh. And like if you want to put your hand on me again and like calm me down, that'd be cool.
Okay, I'll like, hey man, it's gonna be okay. Like you're not
Marlon,
freaking out because you're smoking there, right? You're just smoking some ash, bro.
Well, yeah, no, I'm freaking out because of what I smoked. I know where these things came from.
You do?
Yeah, I saw it, man. In my mind.
Where do they come? Where do they come from?
Junkyard, bro.
Junkyard.
It came out of the junkyard.
Well,
Are you
that maybe
mocking me?
explains the
Are
metal.
you making fun of the way I talk?
No, I'm not. Oh, and
I feel like you're mimicking my affect, Marlon.
No, man, I'm not. Yeah, well, that maybe explains the metal.
Yeah, super
Really?
metal, dude.
Maybe these like are
Really
like
metal.
some weird transformers.
Yeah. So yeah. What are we gonna do now?
Well, so essentially, since you found out this information, and it worked really good, and I'm speeding things up a little bit because I just realized we only have a half hour left, and I apologize.
Yeah.
I ramble so much. So so essentially, the next scene would be we would figure out whether you're gonna go this same evening, like are you gonna go at night to the junkyard, or are you going to wait until the morning and go? The
Not at
challenge to get in, it basically is just a different role based on which you
Not
go.
at night. Not going at night.
Okay.
Not at night.
But Mina, you're the
Mina-
goddess of light.
Mina, I've never known you to stay away from darkness doesn't affect you, does it? I'll follow your lead here.
It just seems to me that we could easily be I'd really rather not go at night.
Then we
All
go
right.
first thing in the morning.
I am invoking my curse.
Okay, so again, if you invoke your curse, that would mean that like something happens right now that makes it completely dark and you lose your shit. Like, so it's a little bit different. Those things are less. I guess that's the thing. I guess maybe I didn't explain curses. The curses aren't just like general suggestions. Like when you activate one, you're like, this is happening now. That sort of thing. So,
Night is falling and they want to go to the junkyard and I'm telling them no. It
Right.
says if it causes hesitation or causes friction within the group.
Okay. All right, cool. So then you're going to activate that. So what then I will say is, what does that mean then in terms of this? Okay.
Well, either they I mean, I don't know. Either they have to change their plans or they have to drag me along in the dark or they have to tell me to go somewhere else. Stay home.
Well, I guess that's what it would be. I guess that would be you choosing to go somewhere else, essentially. So where do you go then that's not the junkyard?
I'm telling him it's really dangerous to go. I think they should wait until the morning.
Are you guys going to wait for the morning? So everybody can be together?
Waiting for the morning.
What's that?
We should definitely go tonight.
I think we should go tonight. I think if we wait until the morning, I mean, if more wolves or something came out, then that would be a disaster.
All right. Well, I'll you can call me if you need me. I'm gonna go check on my followers. And I leave, and that adds a die to the pantheon.
It does. It does. All right, cool. So then you're gonna go at night. So you get to the junkyard, and it's a giant area, piles of junk, big gates, all locked because it's nighttime. So essentially, you will be somebody will be making a crafts and stealth check to pick the gate lock. Or if you have some other way to get in, but that's the easiest way to get in. It's just you go.
I just want to point out that if you'd waited till the morning, I could have done that with 5 dice. I'm just saying.
Yes. She is our crafty one in the group. So I don't know who has a good crafts plus stealth. Who wants to give that a shot?
Crafts, guys, like
I can can anybody hit it really hard?
No, I can't.
I have athletics. I could jump over the fence.
I have pretty high crafts and stealth. I could try. I could try.
All right.
I have 3 crafts and 2 stealth.
That's pretty good. That's 5 dice.
Hey,
See?
I look up to Tony.
Yeah, Tony knows.
It's okay because Tony's going with you. You don't need me because you've got Tony.
something. All right. Okay. 10, 8, 2, 5, 1.
Oh, geez. Well, a 10-8 that's 3 successes, so you're just fine with 3.
Okay.
So yeah, you're able to get past the junkyard. And with that crafts and stealth, that's kind of like it's all built in. You're also able to get past the dogs that are sleeping because you guys are so crafty.
They're just regular dogs.
Oh yeah, they're junkyard dogs.
They're not
you know,
spiny. Okay.
they're just dogs. There's
I
nothing
love
nothing
metal
crazy
wolves.
going on here. But you're following Gabriel's kind of sensing of like where, so where there's not like going to be like a maze of junk you have to make your way through or anything because he's like
I know exactly where to go.
he's honed in. You just have to get there.
Like I exaggerate it. Like I'm like, ooh, hey, oh, I feel it. I feel it.
But really, it's
I don't
just
need to
like
do
if you
that,
just
but I
walk in the
just try to make
direction,
it.
you got it.
Yeah.
So essentially, you go to the back of the junkyard, and it's kind of in the middle of where there appears to be like an isolated clearing. You have to like kind of go underneath a car, in order to get to it. Like it's not super easily accessible. But when you get there, there is a ritual circle kind of in the middle of this area. It's still intact with a sacrifice right in the middle and everything. It's very gross. It's look at this. It even says in the adventure, and something that Mina turns away from immediately, but Mina isn't there because she would have gotten really grossed out by that. So basically there's a dead body there. So if anybody wants to make a medicine roll, then you can inspect the body. That would be one way that you could do it to get all the little details. Otherwise, it's a dead body. That's what you're getting.
Can I beckon the dead body? Can the dead talk?
So since you are so you wouldn't be able to do it to the dead body, but you could summon the spirit of the dead. You could summon the spirit.
Okay.
If you were the god of the dead, then you'd be able to mess with the body, right? But god of death, that's more ghost territory.
Gotcha.
So you can do that. Let me see. Is there anything here? Yeah. Does anybody want to make that medicine perception roll?
I mean,
I need 2 successes on a medicine perception.
I will attempt that.
Okay.
I'm not the great with medicine, but I am perceptive, so.
Seems like that should be something Gabriel's good at. Is he not good at that?
Nah, I'm weak on medicine and perception.
Oh man.
Both ones, but
We've got 2. Okay.
Got
We've
2.
got 2. 2 is what we needed. You don't have to be a doctor or anything. So basically with that roll, you learn you inspect the body and you notice that his ears were sliced off. It's a man and his ears were sliced off during the ritual. He's really like, if you look past the grossness and the bruising and the blood and everything, you can tell that it was a pretty attractive man. Pale skin, just a beautiful man. Your best guess is that he was likely an elf.
freak it out. Can I talk to him?
Okay.
And the reason that you, and real quick, the reason
Yeah.
that you believe he's an elf is because it's also connected to the wolves, which are Norse thing, elves, that sort of thing. So I'm not just
Gotcha.
pulling out of nothing. So let me see. Further investigation, you also find, this is part of the thing, that you find his ID on his body. If you look at that, his name is Wilson Grant. And he's got pictures of himself. He's got pictures of him and another elf smiling and drinking Mai Tais on the beach. There's also a picture of a small elf girl. And on the back there is writing in Elvish that you cannot read. But it looks really cute and there's hearts and stuff on it. So
Can I spend wealth just for an elven translator on my phone? May not be relevant to the story, but I just want to spend wealth. So I feel like it's in Wade's purview.
I would say like if you were really like I want to like spend a bunch of money and I want to get my worshipers to create an app or whatever, I would probably let you do that, and I'd make like a countdown to be like how many successes do we need for that to work, and we'd roll on it over the course of several sessions until bam, I can now read the message on the back of this picture.
Nice.
Is really the thing on the back of the picture says to Uncle Willie, I finally graduated 6th grade. I love you. Like, that's literally what it says. So yeah, there you go. So that's if you inspect the body. I also have here if you inspect the ritual site.
Marlon was going to speak with the spirit, right?
And Marlon wants to speak with the spirit. Actually, I'm going to say, Marlon, you can sense that there's something with this sacrifice that makes that spirit inaccessible. Like whatever way this person was killed here, their spirit doesn't exist anymore. Like it's a vile thing that happened
pretty
here.
bad if
Yes.
your spirit doesn't exist. Does that lead me to suspect anything, or like I said, I'm still wondering if there's another pantheon at work here, that's because they sacrificed this to somebody, I think.
It's possible.
So is there a way to,
without just telling you yes or no? Like,
is there a way for me then? Can it be for me? Would it be like a perception or a knowledge roll, or perception and knowledge to notice how the sacrifice was done, but also my knowledge of other pantheons?
So what I'm going to say, so just for context, a pantheon is literally like gods who end up living near each other in a town, and they don't want to go to war. Like you guys don't necessarily all get along, but you're like, I don't want to fight any of these people, and if my stuff is in trouble, I can call on these people to fight with me. You don't necessarily, but there are other pantheons, like on the outskirts of yours, there's another pantheon. I would say that there isn't any I wouldn't even make you make a roll. Like you probably have communication with
war.
What's that?
Is there a pantheon that does want war? Is there a
I'm gonna say no for now. Like there's not in terms of you guys are pretty low key, and you rarely even engage with the other gods that kind of exist in the same city. So yeah, but also there's not much in the way, like elves are what are considered outsiders, which are supernatural creatures. They're called outsiders in this setting. And outsiders, like, they exist, but they also attempt to live. They don't want to be detected by people, but they also don't want to deal with the gods, because the gods are annoying essentially to the outsiders. They're like, I don't want to deal with these people because they you guys think that you rule everything. What the hell? So, but I'm going to say that you actually, that there is some sort of elven community that does exist in this town. So you could reach out to them if you wanted to.
Can I, sorry,
Go ahead.
Can I do a follow-up knowledge perception on the summoning circle to see what or who it was trying to summon?
Yeah. On the circle there. Yeah.
A single 9 off of 5 dice. So one success.
One success. So essentially you're able to look at it. Again, I'm assuming that you're not like moving or messing with anything, but you're able to look at it. And you, let's see, what does it say here? What did you get? You see that there's a brand, like a sigil of some sort. It's not one that you've ever seen, but Wade does know people that you could reach out to for information on that sigil. So out of the many markings in the ritual and stuff, there's like one sigil that seems to repeat itself a lot.
I draw a frozen version of that sigil and show it to folks and see if anybody recognizes it.
Okay. I would say nobody here knows it either because you guys don't hang out with elves. So it's an elf thing. It's an elf. You'll know. But yeah, so it's definitely an elven sigil. You could go straight to the elf community and you could talk with them about it. Or Wade could ask Cynthia for information on it. Cynthia, who is his watcher, who is a good way to get information.
I
noticed Craig just lost. Did the whole thing get messed up like on Twitch because we dropped somebody? Oh, yep, it did apparently. Okay.
Yep.
I'm sure I have like a bar. I'm like half my face is happening right now. I'm not actually watching the Twitch. I should probably go watch it.
So Wade will I wasn't sure how to use Cynthia, so that's good to know. So I will give her a call knowing that she has that kind of overwatch and nature.
Mhm.
So I will phone a friend.
Okay. And essentially how you use your bonds is you would strain that relationship by marking one of the boxes. That's called straining the relationship.
Gotcha.
And then you would then invoke something of her, like give me this info. And you can do that with any of the people who are important in your life. And every time you force them to do things for you, you hurt their relationship, which is wonderful.
It's just like real life. Yeah.
It's like real life. And if you have a really strong relationship with somebody, it goes up to level 5, then you can abuse them more. And they'll put up with more, essentially, before they're like, no, I'm out.
The joys of a one shot is I don't care.
Exactly. Well, and Cynthia's a special one as well, but it's a whole thing. It doesn't really matter. So so you strain it. She sends you text her the symbol. She sends back the symbol. She says, that is a symbol, that's a sigil of a particular elven house called the Purity. They are an unliked house within the elf community. Like the other elves don't like them. They are outcasts.
Why don't they like them?
They are outcasts. They are kind of like, like they're like the outsider house of the elves that are constantly fighting with the other elves.
Okay, so do we assume that we need to go talk to that house then?
You wouldn't want to talk to that house, but if that symbol is being used and they're sacrificing elves, and part of this is being used to summon things that are destroying, basically you would want to reach out to the elves in order to get their guidance or get their assistance in trying to figure out getting back, essentially down to the bottom of things.
All right. I say I call us a ride and we head to the elven community to sort out the rest of this.
Okay. So everybody's gonna go there, and I'm gonna roll to see where that is on the map. Let's see.
Are you rolling 2d10 to decide where things are at the map?
Yep.
Nice.
I rolled 2d10 and it changes. Like as soon as that location is no longer important, it's that I could roll that again and it's something else. The only important things are the things that belong to your characters. So I just rolled, what did I roll? I just rolled 7-5. Where's that? Is that actually something?
Right in the middle of my domain.
Yeah, no, it's right there. Okay, so 7-5. That is a nightclub, which is interesting because no, that's not bad because it's right down, like downtown is where your office is and stuff. Yeah, so it's like a downtown club. Let's see. So it's a club. It is called the Equinox. It's a nightclub
near Tony's Cali Park as well.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, that actually works out really good for the story because the climax happens at Cali Park, which is kind of interesting. So it's just random rolls. It just happens that way sometimes. And I like that everything is kind of happening all in the same area of town as opposed to having to run around everywhere. So the Equinox is a nightclub where elves are known to congregate. So is it Mina and Tony have been there for parties in the past. Usually it's but like never really with the knowledge that, oh, these are elves, you know. It's like more just like it's a party place, so you can go there and have some fun. Let's see. So even if you don't have an invite, you're brought in. And yes. Well, yeah, and that's kind of the thing here. So essentially, gosh, this adventure is normally set up for like a con, so like usually a 4-hour slot. So I've been trying to rush through a few things, and it's making it all confusing, and I apologize for that. So essentially, the next scene would be out. We'll wrap it up there, as a matter of fact, because I don't want to keep anybody later, and we really only have like 5 minutes. The next scene would have been an interaction with the elves there, and that's where you would have learned more about the different houses of the elves. This is kind of a fun introductory kind of adventure. So you learn that the Purity is a forbidden house banished by most of elf society. Only renegades belong to it. Let me see. If the meeting goes well, the elves will offer assistance with taking out the Razorbacks, divulging that they have a fire vulnerability. And they send an elven hunter named Stutat with you to go and fight it. Stutantalus is his full name, but you know, you guys don't really need to know that. But Stutat is Stutat is what he goes by. Yeah, and then you would go to Alley Park, and you would fight this the basically the woman, which I kid you not, and I didn't even remember that I named her this. Her name is Anastasia. Literally the bad guy at the end of this. I'm reading it right now, and I forgot that I had named her Anastasia.
Surprise cameo.
Yeah, seriously. But essentially, she's a member of the House of Purity. The House of Purity, they're elves. They wear armor made of diamonds. Like, it's really kind of crazy and cool. And she's the one that's been summoning the wolves to, you know, essentially do a bunch of stuff. The guy she killed was her ex-boyfriend, who not her ex-boyfriend, ex-husband. Let me see. What was it? No. Yeah. No. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you kill her or not. Like it all happens anyway. But she's actually, then you find out she's actually just working for somebody else, and she was using the power that she had gained in order to take personal revenge. But it actually all links to a larger thing, because it's actually part 1 of a 3-part adventure. So this was the introductory part of it, which then leads to other craziness that happens. But yeah, wow, gosh. All right, so any questions or any thoughts or anything? So I apologize that we didn't actually get to finish this. This 3-part adventure is also on like the website and stuff. Like, you can go grab it. Like it's out there.
No, I was looking at your stuff on the drive-through. So like, it's definitely going to be stuff that I pick up. Like, and it was a good taste of the system.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know it's like the time is cramped, but like I really feel like I got kind of an idea of like how it works and what you can do with it. So
yeah,
super fun.
Cool. All right. Well, and what happens too, we didn't even get to it. Basically, we would have gone into the next scene, and it would have been like, oh man, I'm out of free time, because I think 2 of you were like out of free time. Oh no, just wait.
Burn through my teeth.
You were trying. But essentially what ends up happening is when you at the end of each scene, I go, okay, cool. So where are you going in the next scene? And you go like, oh, well, I want to go talk to the elf community. And I'd be like, okay, cool. Well, that's where you want to go, but you have no free time. So then I pick one of your bonds, and one of your bonds reaches out and wants your interaction at that moment, because you have no more free time. You have to deal with your responsibilities. And I think you even had damage. You had damage to one of yours, Wade. So I would immediately say that would be the one that would be calling out for your assistance. So which one was that? Was that your office, or was that your server?
Work? Yeah, it was the lizard.
I had.
So I think that was your server.
Oh, sorry, you said Wade. I'm sorry, I thought you.
Oh, no, it was Wade.
Yeah.
So was that? I think the one.
No,
that got hit was
my
your server
worshipers.
farm.
What got hit was my worshipers.
Oh, it was your worshipers. So then I would be like, man, in the explosion, that's big giant sound wave, some of your worshipers were harmed in that, and they're actually they're looking out for you to come and, you know, possibly come and visit them, and like they lost one or two, and like just your ability to come there and just be a presence. Like, you know, essentially I would make up some reason that they want you there, and then you would choose whether you want to go there. If you do go there, then you would be able to heal that strain. If you chose not to go there, you would cause more strain, thus making it worse. And basically, if you get full of strain and then you strain it again, then it drops a level, and you start taking on what are called frailties, really bad things like guilt and, you know, power, you know, power obsessions, stuff like that. You might become a hoarder. There's a whole bunch of frailties in the game that essentially, whenever your relationships start to weaken, you start kind of taking on negative aspects of your personality. I had one where, like, you know, the character kept ignoring like their brother, and then we had something happen and he ended up losing his brother, and then he was just like, well, I'm just going to take like a bunch of levels of guilt here, you know. And it's just like, and because guilt is a big one, it's like, and there's good things and bad things, because I try to balance the game. There's good things and bad things to everything that you take on. So even the bad thing is a frailty. You know, like I think it's you take negatives for like, because you might just get stuck like in your guilt, so that sucks. But also you get bonuses to like empathize with other people who might also share guilt, and, you know, stuff like, so there's stuff that you get on top of that, even though it's a bad thing technically. So, and the game itself is like, everybody starts off with spark 1. And every time, this is, you know, basically like your level 1. And every time you achieve a new level, you have to start cutting away the things in your life that are important to you, because you are replacing those things with divine power. So, you know, eventually, you know, it might get down to where, you know, Tony has to choose between, you know, caring for the people who are at her school or caring about her sister. You know, it's like you have to give up one of them, and obviously you give up the campus, you know, like, you know, screw those kids. You know, but I've had people where it's like they had their wife and their kid, you know, and like, you know, it's like, like who do I cut away from my life? And it's crazy. That's like long-term play, you know, when you get into that sort of thing. And that sort of thing can really, really shape where you're going in terms of the story that you're trying to tell with each of the different gods. So yeah.
Do you have like character sheets online as PDFs, or are they part of the book?
No, they're in the back of the book. So if you get the book, it's there. But there's also, if you go to thirdeyegames.net and hit the freebies page, all the sheets are on the freebies page for all of my different games.
I have a lot of questions, but we're like, the time is like here. I have like so much I want to ask, but
I have a few more minutes. If I mean, we don't have to record the questions if we don't want to, but like, I have a few more minutes. I'm good. I know Anastasia said that she